How's it going, guys? You're watching Dirt Bike Channel. I'm your host, Kyle Brotherson, and I have Sam Oldham here with me, and we have been testing the 2017 KTM 300XC today out in the Alpine Mountains, and we have Sam's bike over here, this 2015 300XC, to compare it against. And my goodness, it's been an eye-opening morning. We've only been out here for about 2 hours-ish, and we've been swapping back and forth on the bikes, and both bikes are basically set up stock. Sam has a pipe on his bike. This one doesn't, but they both are running stock carburetors, stock suspension, and stock motors, and it has been eye-opening. The first thing I will say, and I want to get Sam's first impression, I feel very comfortable on the 2017, and as soon as I swapped over to the 2015, I instantaneously felt all the vibration that the 2015 makes through the entire frame. It's not just in your hands that the 2017 is smoother. It's through your feet where I noticed it the very most. This motor is so much smoother and so much less vibration. And that was my first takeaway. I'm going to come over here, bring the mic a little bit closer to Sam. What was your first takeaway?
My first takeaway was just how well the bike was balanced. It just felt so smooth, and the front forks work really well with the back forks. No chatter that you normally get with the 4CS shocks, and then obviously the vibration. It's almost shocking because you forget how much vibration's on your bike, but if you've been riding the older frames, the 16s or 15s, the vibration is totally different. But probably the biggest thing that I love, I really like the front fork. I thought the front fork is a lot better.
Yeah, so they went to the air fork on the 2017s. Most of you guys know that, and a lot of the motocross guys were kind of worried about that because Kawasaki's done air forks in the past. It hasn't really worked out that well. Honda's done air forks, and they haven't maybe really figured out the air forks completely. And I know a lot of manufacturers have gone back to the spring forks. Yamaha never left the spring fork.
Yeah, and in fact, Honda's gone back to a spring fork this year for their 2017.
For the 17s.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys have said this WP air fork is probably the best air fork that we've seen, and honestly, it's the first air fork that I've spent a lot of time on. I've only had a couple hours on it now, but I am loving it. I'm loving it. Very, very compliant on this. One of the other things that was kind of surprising, and Sam and I are trying to put our finger on exactly why this is, but this cockpit on the 17 feels a bit more roomy. We initially thought that it was that the handlebars were a little bit further forward. I'm not sure that's the case. I think it might be that they've moved the foot pegs down and back. Maybe. Don't quote me on that. I'm not like a KTM guru. I'm just telling you, we're just trying to articulate what we're feeling between the two bikes. What was your thought on that?
Yeah, immediately when you would stand up, it felt way more comfortable. And I know some of the guys that are taller have complained about that with the KTMs and putting bar riders on there, but immediately I felt like on my 2015 I was like this, where I felt like I was like this on this new 2017. So I felt like the cockpit was better than the 2015.
Talking about power characteristics of these two motors. So obviously there's a counterbalance shaft in the new 2017, which makes the motor feel a lot smoother. They've redesigned where the starter goes, and some of the guys are complaining that there's not as much low end on these bikes. Maybe not. I'm not sure that I can answer that. I think there might be a little less low end on the 2017, but I'm not entirely certain. The low end on the 15 here feels very, very good, but then again, it does have an FMF gnarly pipe and an FMF Turbine Core 2 silencer, which typically those things do give you a little bit more low end. So this bike feels like it might have just a little bit more down on the bottom, a little more punch, but then it's not like this feels weak. What did you think about the power delivery?
You know, the funny thing is immediately when I started riding the bike, I thought this feels a lot like the YZ250X.
Yeah,
like a lot, but it didn't have, the YZ doesn't have the low end that has. So this still has that 300 grunt, 300 power. You could argue, like Kyle said, that I feel like this has a little bit more snap, but it's not apples to apples because of the exhaust systems. And we know the gnarly tends to like get the meat of the power band somewhere in the mid range, right? Is kind of how they tune that pipe. But ultimately, about being underpowered or having no power or not being able to crawl the gnarly stuff, I did the second gear gnarly climbs in that bike just as well on this bike. And in fact, in some places, because the suspension's more balanced, I felt like you could keep your speed better than on this one. You don't bounce around as much, which helped a ton as well.
Yeah, because it was easier to keep good traction on the new chassis with the new suspension. Thanks for watching, guys. On an upcoming video, I'm going to talk more about the carburetor, the new carburetor that we've got on this bike, and also the light feel overall of the bike. So please like the videos, share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.